every time we read, we learn something new.
Exactly. I mean, I, spent so much time with Darwin and I heard all of this and it winds up being new over and just winds up being new because, our camera angle changes. So we're seeing all of what he said
I
and
was
Barbara's
going to say
quote
that.
from a different angle.
Yeah. Life circumstances, once they
Yeah.
change, what we get out of it is change too.
Yeah. Hey, we got Larry Pesta. He's been locked down in that same room for 7 months. He never leaves.
That's the truth, Jeff. I don't go too many. I don't go anywhere lately.
Hey, somebody who must have tuned in, to one of the sessions from way back when you gave that description of going to, I think it was a Buddhist temple.
No, so it was the Vedanta Society.
The Vedanta Society. One guy I spoke to the night before last was so moved by what you shared. He didn't know who it was, but I remember.
You remembered, yes.
Yeah, I remember. It was beautiful. And
Yeah,
Patty there.
That was a good lesson.
Yeah. And
we don't realize the gifts that we've been given.
Yeah. Well, sometime it may fit in perfectly with what we're reading, and it would be nice for you to share that again.
And anytime, Jeff.
That's a beautiful camera angle.
Yeah, anytime.
I can feel his heartbeat from 1,000 miles, and the heavens open every time he smiles. And when it comes to me, that's where I belong. I'm running to him like a river song. He gives me love, 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 crazy love. He brings his love, 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 his crazy love. He has a fine sense of humor when I'm feeling low down. And when it comes to me, as the sun goes down, takes away my troubles, takes away my grief, takes away my heartache in the night like a thief, and leaves his love, 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 his crazy love. He gives me love, 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 crazy love. Oh yes, and I need him in the morning. Oh, I need him in the night. I want to throw my arms around him, kiss him and hug him, kiss him and hug him tight. When I am returning from so far away, he gives his sweet, sweet love. He lightens up my day, and he makes me righteous. He makes me whole. He makes me mellow down to my soul with all his love, 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 his crazy love. He gives me love, 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 crazy love. He brings love, 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 crazy love. He gives me love, 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 crazy love, crazy love.
Hey. Thank you. Hey,
Sure.
Katie's here. Great. Thank you for
Thank you.
put you on the spot, but you rose to the occasion. When we would be with the Mandalay in India, and you're sitting on the porch with, Baba's close ones, and they'd say, "Oh, someone, you tell a joke or you sing a song," and you didn't have the what I could say, the privilege to, to pass. You just kind of came up with something.
Yeah.
You might not have sung in front of anybody for years, but you got over a lot of self-consciousness being around them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So do you have a joke, Jeff?
Oh,
a
put
joke.
him on the spot. Nice play.
Uh-oh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
There were these three guys, buddies from way back, they international, and they were on a ship, a sailing ship out in the Pacific, and this horrible typhoon came along, and they were blown over, and they made it ashore to this kind of remote like island with palm trees with some of the equipment that they had. And so now they're stuck, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, every day they have schedules where you kind of comb the ocean to see whether anybody is coming, any ship going by or airplane. Nothing. Time goes by, and they're starting to run low on supplies. And so, but one day they see this glint out in the water at the distance, coming in, and they don't even wait for it to come in. They swim out to it and everything, you grab it, and it's this bottle. And it's got a cork on it, and they pull it off, and out comes this genie. And the genie says, "Oh, I've been trapped in this bottle for 300 years. I'll grant each one of you a wish." So the first guy, he's Italian. He says, "Well, I would like to be in Venice with my sweetheart, under the moonlight, being, going in a gondola, being sung by the gondolier." Bam, there he is. He's with his girlfriend, and he's under this beautiful sky. And he turns to the next guy. "Now, where would you like to be?" Well, he's French. You say, "Well, I would like to be in Paris. I'd like to be on a little a sidewalk cafe with my sweetheart, just drinking the kind of French wine." Bam, there he is. He goes to the other guy. The other guy's a Baba lover. He says, what would you like?" He says, "I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling a little bit lonely. Can you bring my friends back?"
Oh gosh.
That's you guys.
Well, we're here, Jeff. We're here.
That's the one that popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we have a few moments of silence before we begin? Jai Baba. So great to have you all here and ready for to make another effort at tackling effort and grace. Beautiful. And this, most of you know, but this was written by Darwin Shaw, one of the early Western disciples of Baba. He met Baba back in the 30s. And it's an invaluable, very invaluable book. It takes you deep into the heart. And it's based on Baba's discourses. And of course, we've got Darwin, who spent 70 years going deep along this journey. And so we have kind of a guided tour by someone who has traveled. I don't know how far Darwin got, but I think he got pretty close to the soul in an abiding way through all the depth of the heart. And of course, this is one of the major approaches to Baba, but there are other major approaches. But the beautiful thing about this is this can be, well, the Sufis have said that there are as many paths to God as there are souls of individuals. So it's very unique for each one, but this book is very helpful to people of all different approaches. And, but I should say, I met Darwin back in either late 60s or early 70s. And Darwin was very unassuming, kind of a low-key person. He was quite complete in himself, but somehow we as young people, Hugh was one of the people there, and let me just see if there's anyone else that from those early years. Anyway, we recognized that Darwin was sitting on a treasure within, and we kind of say we prodded him with questions, and we drew out things about the inner life. And I used to kind of think like he was this wine barrel with filled with Baba's rare wine, and we would just kind of go up with our drills and drill holes in it and fill up our glasses. Because, and I mean, he, like I say, he was very unassuming, but boy, I used to call him Clark Kent, you know, a mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper. But whenever he started talking about Baba, he was able to leap whole buildings in a single bound. He was, when his heart opened up, Baba would come into the room. He could fill a whole room with Baba's loving presence. And Baba himself would ask Darwin to speak in various places in this country, because he was able to give you such a feeling of what it was like to be with Baba. And so let me just tell you a little bit about Darwin for those who might be new or haven't read anything. But he was born in 1908, I think, and he grew up basically in Schenectady, New York, upstate New York. When he was 3, he remembers when he was being baptized, he could, and the baptismal water was patted on his head, he saw this light and felt this divine presence. This is at age 3. So he had already gotten his driver's license for this spiritual path, you might say. And then all through his childhood, he had the feeling of that presence. He got into Jesus, loved the stories of Jesus, and felt it was very real. It was very real to him. And, you know, he went to various churches, and they talked about belief in God and belief in Jesus, but he never heard anybody talking about experiencing the companionship of Jesus. That just, he just came into this lifetime with that. And then when he was 17, in a spirit of adventure, he went out to the West, where he worked on cattle ranches in Wyoming and Colorado and some of those places. But under those huge skies with billions of stars, he felt the immensity of God. And on one of his trips there, he felt in these expanded states that he would be in, he felt that Christ was on the earth again and that he would meet him. This is in probably around 1929, something like that. So he came back to Schenectady. A year later, he met Jean, who became his wife, at a Halloween party, a costume party. Just so we're just one day away from Halloween, but that's how he met her. And one day when he was looking in the newspaper, they used to have, they don't have it now, but they used to have fillers in newspapers where they needed to fill in some space because there wasn't enough copy to fill the page. And there was a little mention of Meher Baba and a few of his disciples were leaving India for London. And when he read that, he felt intuitively, this is the Christ. And back then you didn't have Google where you could kind of trace these things out. He had to wait until another mention of Baba came. And by that time, Baba had come here to America, and he missed Baba. This is in 1932. He missed Baba, but Baba came to him in spirit, and he had such an overwhelming experience that Baba was the Christ, who he said he was. And then in 1934, Baba came again. This time, Darwin and Jean were not going to miss Baba. They got to the hotel where Baba was coming and got there before, and it turned out they got there before he did. And so they were waiting in the lounge. And sometime later, Baba came in with some of his close ones, and Narina saw Darwin and Jean, and she brought Baba over to meet Darwin and Jean. And Darwin said when Baba reached his hand out like that, it came across 2,000 years. And it was like reliving the pages of the New Testament. He had been much loved in his life, but he had never been face to face with divine love. It was overwhelming. He could see that Baba knew him completely, all his weakness and hang-ups and his strengths and all, his whole life. And Baba loved him unconditionally. This was a different dimension of love that was new to him. So that just kind of gives you a little background of Darwin. And Darwin wrote this book when he was 92. So, and a lot of the things that he wrote about were questions that we asked him, and we kind of dragged it out of him. So here's what we do is, Angela will ask anybody to read, and we read just a section at a time, and you can pass if you like. And then if anything comes up, any something you want to share in regard to what Darwin has said, or if you have any questions or any examples maybe that might clarify what Darwin has said, feel free. Don't be shy. We're all in the same boat, and we're all family. So don't be shy. People have been very understanding and compassionate toward whatever has been shared here. So anyway, let's went.
All right, we're starting from the top. So that'll be chapter 1, page 3 of the book, page 2 of the PDF.
The Divine Beloved. The perennial spring of imperishable sweetness is within everyone. Meher Baba. We have the door to the unlimited within us and the opportunity for infinite exploration within. The spiritual path is wide open for those who are ready to pursue spiritual values. We have to dare to plunge into the ocean of God's being. It is fascinating to discover the spiritual potential we could be enjoying. It can happen to us. And now is the most propitious time of priceless value due to the strong avataric influence of Meher Baba's advent. The next section.
Yeah, go ahead.
Precious beyond words. Avatar Meher Baba has been called the Awakener. He says, quote, I have come not to teach, but to awaken, end quote. I experience him as the divine beloved who has come as Savior, Messiah, Christ, to awaken us from the dream of creation. He awakens us to the spiritual quest and removes the barriers to further progress in that quest toward reality. The wonder of who Meher Baba, the divine beloved, really is, and the sweetness of his love for us is precious beyond words. The pure sweetness and heavenly beauty of our beloved can never be described adequately in words, because there are no words capable of revealing the glorious love that he really is. He is the source of divine love, which is constantly pouring out into all of creation. Meher Baba's divine love is infinitely powerful, yet unimaginably sweet, tender, and personal. Divine love is penetrating, clear, and beautiful. It is also light, cheerful, and infinitely free. It is awakening, transforming, and liberating. Want me to continue or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Divine love conveys illumination, a penetrating knowingness. When one is exposed to this love, one experiences a great expansion of consciousness, and the sanskaric horde of impressions that normally keep us captive is put aside. One feels liberated, and one finds oneself swimming in the ocean of light, love, and beauty. Divine love opens the heart center, which becomes the main means of communication with the beloved, releasing the spirit and arousing an intense love for him. When through his grace, some of the veils fall away, one beholds him with the eyes of the heart. The indescribable beauty of his love irresistibly summons the soul to adoration and union. It unites one with him, the divine beloved, in the spirit. Divine love is total significance. It is total significance because it embodies reality, truth. Divine love is the entire significance of creation. Divine love is the purpose of life, the meaning of life, and it is our destiny.
Beautiful. Any, I found this quote of Rumi, I'll read. Rumi says, the heart is not a wall reflecting moonbeams of divine light. It is a door that opens onto the light itself. I'll read that again. The heart is not a wall reflecting moonbeams of divine light. It is a door that opens onto the light itself. So that's where we're heading.
No, beautiful, a beautiful way to open up the book. It's almost as if you can just take this page and carry it with you. And anyway, I was just thinking, this line, the indescribable beauty of his love, irresistibly summons the soul to adoration and union. And it reminds me of when Tom Riley talks about his coming to Baba. I don't know, the part I'm thinking about is when he gets to Guru Prasad, and he had been picked up by
Francis
Brabazon, right?
Yeah.
And Francis started crying, letting out a sigh in the car. So you could feel this happening. And he says when he gets to Guru Prasad and gets out, he found himself holding his hands like this up. He looked down, he realized what he was doing. It was something so immensely intense that without even realizing, he was just drawn to adore this presence. That's my comment. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I remember that.
And Cindy, go ahead.
Well, I would want to comment on the exact same line that Ray just did. So, of course, we're in that right now. The indescribable beauty of his love irresistibly summons the soul to adoration and union. And I feel that energy of adoration for Baba right now, and for even the whole earth with everything that's going on. And I'm thinking of that phrase that all devotion leads to the one, and also perhaps all adoration leads to the one, to like the Christmas song, "Come Let Us Adore Him." And so I'm feeling that energy of adoration for God and love and everything in existence, as difficult as it may be. Like Hafiz says, "Come, come, whoever you are." Ours is not a caravan of despair.
Beautiful. Yeah. Hold that, hold that sentiment through the next few days for sure.
I am. And that the Radiant Health series that I get to facilitate for the Avatar Friends is Tuesday night at 7:30 to 8:14, 44 minutes. So you're all welcome to help hold that adoration
Okay.
as well then.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's awesome. And Patty.
Well, I just wanted to say it actually the same line. So, it's kind of a triple whammy here, but I just yesterday happenstance had it that I was, on YouTube and I was memorializing, with Dreyfus, that stuff. And then up popped Darwin Shaw's meeting with Baba, which you described, Jeff, just a little while ago. And in that, what was so profound after I watched that, and it was so incredible, his description of how he, they came ahead and actually their appointment had been canceled and it was going to be the next day, but they didn't care. They just wanted to get there. And so they got there and they were waiting. And then of course they were recognized, but he said they hung till the very end and kept glimpsing Baba. And you can just feel this love that is commanding such adoration and adoring him so much that you do want union with him. And it's on one of those things that shows up. So, I mean, seriously, I was weeping by what he was talking to about it when I saw it yesterday. So it's so amazing because he opens the book with it, and that's exactly where I do want to go. Most definitely. Yeah, Jay Baba,
Good.
thanks.
Yeah, Jay Baba.
Elizabeth Robinson.
Yes, I just want to say this. I came in and did the last, say, quarter of this. And so I'm starting all over again. And what's interesting to me is this first page is just like an encapsulation of all that comes later in more detail. And talking about love, divine love, opening the heart center, and that divine love is total significance. And that it's the purpose of life, the meaning of life, and our destiny. And is the entire significance of creation. So I just thought it was a good overview
Yeah.
of what the whole rest of the book is.
Yeah, exactly. We got a
And
couple of
Douglas, go ahead.
What occurred to me in this remarkable few paragraphs of divine love is this sentence: Baba's divine love is infinitely powerful, yet unimaginably sweet, tender, and personal. And it's that way that we all feel his love on a very personal level, a very personal relationship, which is remarkable, as it's also infinitely powerful. But it seems to get into each of us.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, Darwin really emphasized that Baba is intimately personal with each one. I mean, I don't know how Baba does it, but
Right.
he's there taking a personal interest in every little thing of our life.
Yeah.
And that is so attractive. It's so, you feel truly acknowledged. It's not like Darwin said, he's just not coming by and kind of spot checking you, like, oh, there's Douglas. I'll I'll see how he's doing this weekend, and then he's gone. It's not, he's there permanently with each one till the very end.
Yeah. Sri Baba.
Yeah. And so is Jesus. If someone is devoted to Jesus, he is there, even though he's no longer physically here, but his personality is there, and he can follow each one who approaches him through that path. He's right there, available. Okay.
Yeah, the last line of the first paragraph really struck me. They're actually the last two lines. It is fascinating to discover the spiritual potential we could be enjoying. It can happen to us. And now is the most propitious time of priceless value due to the strong avataric influence of Meher Baba's advent. I'm reading Darwin's autobiography also right now. And a day or two ago, there was something that Darwin mentioned that Baba was talking about, that during avataric periods, there's no need of making journeys on the spiritual path and no need of having to go on paths, that the avatar takes you directly to the goal. And I was thinking that's what we had been talking about before, where there's no, journeying the plains or doing any of that. It's like that side road you talked about, Jeff, where through love, Baba takes us straight to the goal. So my question, and I think I already know the answer in my heart, but I just like hearing it. Avatar period. So Baba said that period 100 years after his death, he is present just as strong as when he was actually here. So does that 100 years after his death, or are we still officially in an avataric period right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it begins in 1969 when Baba dropped his body. But it's as if he's right. You can have his companionship. There's a Christian saying that the saints found Jesus within them. The early Christians found him beside them. So this is the time when you can have him right beside you. It's a very special time, but then things kind of wane a little bit, and then you have to really dive deep within to find him, as the saints struggle to do.
Say that one more time, Jeff, about how that went with that within and beside.
Yeah, the saints found Jesus within them, and the early Christians found him beside them. So he was right there with them. But later on, you have to dive deep into the heart to get the same experience.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that that's not like a hard and fast rule. There's exceptions to everything in this universe. I had one question I wanted to ask because it's a term that Darwin uses throughout this book, where he says to rise to the level of the spirit. What does the spirit mean to you? Who can kind of define it? Because that's central, and that we're working our way toward the spirit, or you might say the soul. How would you define that? Anybody? Because that's kind of central to this whole book.
I guess if I was going to take that in, the way I see it is it's kind of like rising to the big self, capital S self. And for me, I guess the big self is that part of me that includes the qualities of nobility and integrity, honesty, kindness, gentleness, lightness, as Baba said, as he wrote here, this is light, cheerful, and infinitely free. Well, that's what my soul is. So the parts of me that can bring it up and get out of the gloom and try to push it up to the light a bit. And there was one other piece of the self that I was thinking of. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it there.
Great description. Wonderful. Anyone else?
Marina?
Marinaz, yeah.
Well said, Ruth. I really loved it. One more thing I want to add also to that is the self without ego, period.
Yeah.
And I realize it's very much true about my life. When ego is aside, everything else that Ruth mentioned comes forward. And that's it. So for me, for my special case, or for my individual, ego is the answer.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's another way of describing the same thing. This is, yeah, the best, it's the deepest part of ourself. And someone else there?
Larry?
Yes, I have. I know Darwin was influenced by New Thought philosophy, and I have the official New Thought dictionary of terms. And so spirit is the life essence which permeates all persons and all things. It's the thing within everything which makes it what it is. It is God, the living spirit, almighty.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, of course, they talk about someone who sings from their soul. And it's where your own personality gets eclipsed by the song coming through, ideally. And the beautiful thing about it is that the soul is understandable to us. It's just experiencing it in a more abiding way. We get flashes of forgiveness, of generosity, of humor, all that come from that deep well within us. But the object is to see if we can live there more and more permanently, and not in our little lower, lesser self, our better angels. Yeah.
And Elizabeth?
So when I think of the spirit, I think of that ineffable quality where there's more of a direct communication with God, a kind of knowing. So it's tied in with the intuition. And in one of the readings of Darwin, he talked about some of the aspects of the spirit, how we will know the spirit. And it's in alignment with what Ruthie said. But I just want to read, there's a verse in Galatians. I hope it's okay if I read it. And it says, but the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But anyway, I think all of those things are part of, well, I guess they're the fruits of the spirit, but living in the spirit, those things are exhibited by the person.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so. I mean, I think we all have a real sense of what the attributes of the spirit is, and that's where we're heading, and letting go of all the other stuff. And this book kind of takes us into that journey away from our smaller self into our higher self.
I think it's a direct experience where one opens their heart to the love and the peace that patheth understanding and the love that patheth understanding by getting very still, prayerful, and just allowing the being to enter that extraordinary silence of Baba, love of Baba, and peace of Baba. Everybody's readings and thoughts are really saying the same thing. And like Marina has said, to get out of the way of the ego, ego, edging God out, eg. How do I edge God out? How do I at least get out of the way of my ego, even for a little bit, and say, Lord, let me be your instrument, fill me with your spirit. Let me be an instrument of love and peace. I think it's really an entry into the spirit. And I think even a guy like me, if I can have the chance to do that, anybody can.
Beautiful.
And Heidi.
Hi there. I wanted to read something, piggyback on what Larry said about New Thought. But this little quote, it's called True Friendship, written by Joseph Murphy, who was a New Thought reverend. And I always feel this is how Darwin was. And now I feel this is how Darwin was and also how this group is. So I'm going to read it. It's called True Friendship. It says, I have found my divine companion and he is God. He is fixed in my heart. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me I am his own. It is wonderful. I have found my spiritual friends within. Their names are love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. These are the only important friends. They are the veritable almighty power of God walking in my form. Having found the companions within, I now attract by the immutable law people who blend with me spiritually. I radiate friendship and love to the whole wide world and to all mankind. I love and I am loved by everyone. I love people. I am interested in their welfare and happiness. I realize all men are my brothers and all women are my sisters. I give the best in me to people. They in turn find enjoyment and pleasure in my presence and company. I am now attracting wonderful friends by the universal law of love. God is love. I kiss God now in a mental embrace, for he is my beloved.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Joseph,
Wow. That's where we're heading, folks.
That was a huge gift, how edging God out. I just want to say I am so grateful for that. That is like one of the best things I've ever heard about ego. So thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we got Larry Pesta.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one little gem about spirit, which I think really fits Mayor Baba. It says, spirit appears wherever it is recognized. Since the life principle is omnipresent, it springs into being wherever we recognize it. To see God, life, power in anything is to cause that thing to respond in like manner. So I think that fits because it fits in with remembering Mayor Baba as we walk around. If we look at life and we just remind ourselves, this is spirit, this is spirit. When we recognize that, Baba appears and presents itself more beautifully in our consciousness. So that's one beautiful connection to this philosophy.
Lovely. Lovely. You just have to find the station to turn to. Yeah.
Just for Anthony had asked about the Avataric period. Baba says, my understanding is it's about 100 years this time, and he'll then be back in about 700 after that. And if he's going to be back in 1400, then the Avataric period is about 200 years. I'm not sure if anybody will, comment on that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
We're
Janet.
making hotel reservations.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something about the spirit and the soul. I mean, my sense for inside myself is that when I feel spirit, I feel a sense of aliveness with Baba, a sense of that companionship that we mentioned, that Darwin mentions, and kind of a and this kind of congeniality with all of life. I mean, with others, but with sometimes it's easier actually with nature in some ways, I think, for me to feel that sense of spirit awakening. And then I feel the soul slightly, and I mean, I have no idea, this is just my own felt sense, but the soul feels like a deeper well of mystery, I guess I would say, a deeper well of mystery. Yeah. I don't know if any of that rings true for other people, or if I'm just completely out to lunch. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you've hit on a valuable thing, but I'll comment on that after the next two hands.
And Ruth, go ahead.
Yeah, I won't be long. I just wanted to caboose on Larry's reading and say that some of my friends and I sometimes play I Spy God. And that kind of keeps us centered for the day.
That's great. And Hugh.
Yep. Yeah, going back to the start of the quote or the reading that Heidi made there, reminds me, I started out, he walks with me and he talks with me. It's Jean Shaw's favorite song was In the Garden. And
yeah.
He always had people sing that. And it has that, starts with that line that sort of embodies what Jeff was saying about Baba being your companion.
Yeah. Yeah, just to say that Darwin and Jean, when I first met them, they were so adorable because they just had Baba's companionship. I mean, all of this is kind of internal things, but they were like two children that just adored Baba. And I always felt Baba just came to their house just to hang out with them and be with them because they were just so fun to see. Their house had pictures of Baba all over and quotes, and it was like the lagoon cabin, with wallpaper and cookies and apple juice. But one thing that talking, responding to what Janet said, I mean, this might be a little academic, but Baba was asked the difference between the spirit and the soul. And Baba said the soul is independent, sovereign, untouched by creation. But when the soul interfaces with creation, it is called spirit. So basically, in trying to reach the spirit, we're connecting with the, what can I say, the soul as it interfaces with creation. So they're really basically one and the same, except one is independent, and it's hard, as Janet said, it's hard to contact that mystery. But the spirit being in creation is accessible to us. Okay, shall we go on here? We've got stalled in a traffic jam here, a spiritual traffic jam.
An excellent traffic jam.
Yes, this is the kind of traffic jam you need.
Page 5, Chapter 2, Meher Baba's Work Project.
Meher Baba's Work Project. We all have the same destiny, to realize our own divinity, our own godhood, and be free of the ego. The problem is to raise the consciousness and at the same time abolish the ego. Darwin Shaw. My belief is that we can get closer to the goal of life by consciously striving for it with the Master's help. All the explanations that Meher Baba has given through the discourses and other books are for the purpose of leading us toward divine love, toward actual merging with God. We are Baba's work project, and this is his work with us. Meher Baba asserts that in truth, everyone is God, but that we are unconscious of our godhood. The truth is latent within us, but it must be awakened. We must become conscious of it. To realize consciously what we already are unconsciously, we have to become free of the false self, the ego. And I believe that this is accomplished through our own efforts and through the intervention of the Master's divine grace. Meher Baba is working to raise our consciousness from the dual realm, which means that he is opening doorways to increasing inner freedom. He redirects our consciousness toward the truth and urges us to take our stand upon the truth within and work toward it ourselves, instead of lingering unnecessarily long in the dream of illusion. He works on our behalf to destroy the veils that cloud our consciousness from the truth. And this brings us salvation of the spirit, freedom that is experienced at the level of the spirit. He has come to take us beyond the opposites and to help us get free of them as we go through life. He has come to release us from the bondage of time-bound illusion. Then we are no longer subject to the world and its opposites. We find lasting inner freedom and true happiness within, far beyond the dual realm. That is what Baba means when he refers to the inner happiness of God realization. I feel that Meher Baba's work of freeing us from our false self and the illusory creation is still going on and will continue to go on as part of the work of the Avatar. I believe that knowingly or unknowingly, we are all participants in a divine design unfolding toward our spiritual potential, our own godhood. And a small thing it is to ask of us that we should help in getting ourselves free.
Any comments? Anything that strikes you there, or any questions? I'm reminded of Teilhard Chardin that we are, and we are we're not so much human beings having a spiritual experience as spiritual beings having a human experience. He was kind of exiled from the church, unfortunately. Go ahead.
Ken and Betty?
Hi, it's Ken. I'm going to make a comment that actually started with not making the comment on the first chapter, and then realizing why it had more to do with this. And that is that, you know, my perception of soul, the definition of soul and spirit, I mean, it's what I'm shooting for is untainted experience. And what I mean by that is I feel like the personality, the ego that I am, has been built on false perception. It's like each one of my senses is a telescope, and I'm limiting what I believe about the universe because I'm seeing information only what the telescope is capable of collecting. So I'm piecing all that together and I'm somehow making sense of it and calling it me. And that, what I find is that spiritually, I'm trying to pull back out of those telescopes. And that when I do that, it's not like something else is created, but what was always there. Now I have a chance to see more of the universe as it is, you know, not as I sort of made it up to be. And the beauty of Meher Baba to me is that he is there on the other side of that handshake, so that the personality I give up is then replaced by the living consciousness and personality of the avatar through the love that I feel that my experience then can be expanded beyond this little tiny ego that I have. And I really get that a lot of that is word-based for me. It's language-based. And I so understand why Baba said, this time I'm coming in silence, you know, because it's the experience that can't be put into words because it's pre-verbal. That's where I find in me he lives. And that's where I experience his companionship.
Beautiful. Beautiful description, Ken. Yeah. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, it's instead of looking through that little lens of the ego, you throw the telescopes out and see what Mani used to use, Baba's sister used to say from time to time, you have to see things through Baba's eyes and not through our little self-referenced eyes, so to speak. Yeah. Well, beautifully said.
Very beautiful. And Ray, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to comment. Meher Baba's work project is us, and then through our own efforts and through the intervention of the Master's grace, effort and grace, Meher Baba's project. That's my project.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is very, very important. And what the last two brothers just said, and the other people, just duality. Most of the time, I don't get it. I don't perceive it. I don't understand it. I think I do, but having spent a lot of time over the decades on becoming aware and seeing what is and experiencing what's happening, this dualistic mind that really dominates just about everybody's life makes it very, very, very difficult you have to humble yourself, because we know 1 and 1 is 2, but we're not talking about a basic math or the sky is blue or I feel really a wonderfully elated feeling. We're talking about what the mind takes in, and the mind so often misperceives. That's what I sort of understand duality. And it was so beautifully put with the last two guys. I'm just trying to say it's crucial to really to know that so much of what we think we are perceiving and understanding is not really what we think or we are perceiving and perceiving and understanding. That's why Baba speaks about this duality. We are very, very far from the truth a lot of the time. Not only the absolute truth, but the relative truth. And that's said not to make people feel, oh God, that's not true, but I know it's true for me.
Good. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. Yeah, it's not all a done deal.
Hi, everyone. Great to see
Yeah.
you. It's interesting because, we're talking about describing Baba in words, and, the pure sweetness and heavenly beauty of our beloved can never be described adequately in words, because there are no words capable of revealing the glorious love that he really is. However, now I don't know where this came from, whether this came from somebody else or whether it's in the literature, I don't know. But a Baba meeting, when we share our experience with Baba, or yes, we can't adequately describe it, but I thrill listening to someone who's met Baba, their story. When any of you have experiences, your relationship with Baba, we share it through words. And I love that. I mean, that's it for me. Like, I love hearing people's stories, and I love hearing, Jeff, even telling your funny stories about your mask in Mansari. And I love the funny stories. I love the profound stories. We just saw Tom and Kathy Riley, Tom's stories of his trip to India and meeting Baba, and okay, we can't adequately describe it, but I love the stories. So I want to say that first of all. Secondly, in terms of this whole thing we just read in the second chapter, wow, aren't we lucky? Aren't we so lucky that it says to realize consciously what we are unconsciously, we have to become free of the false self. And doesn't Baba say this is like impossible without a master, without him, but he says, through our own efforts, right? And through the intervention of Baba's divine grace, this effort and grace. So we have to want it. I have to ask, Baba, please move my ego aside. And sometimes I remember it. I try to remember it before working with a client. I try to remember it. Actually, gave a concert yesterday. I remembered it several songs in. Then I was like, okay, let me move my ego aside, Baba, please come through. And then I forget a lot. But if it's like if I set the intention, Baba, please move my ego aside, I'm taking the action. And usually what happens is magic happens then, because I'm not controlling the situation at all. It's like I really, really, Baba is coming through, and then the intuition happens, right? And then when I'm holding that space of Baba, please move my ego aside, come through, somehow the other person perceives it on some level. So I really feel like magic just happens, like synchronous things happen way better than I could have controlled with a client. You know what I mean? It's always way better. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Yeah. So true, Larice. So true. That's the way to do it.
And Roshni from Mumbai, by the way.
Are you in the middle of the night there, Roshni?
1 second. No, it's 3 minutes to Baba being born right now. It's almost there. It's 5 a.m. So Jai Baba, everyone.
Good. Yeah.
All right. So I'm reading something from Lord Meher, Soul and the Spirit. Meher Baba discoursed about reincarnation, explaining that what spirit means. The soul always remains the same. It is only the spirit which reincarnates and takes successive possession of bodies. People do not understand what spirit is and only vaguely use the term. There are so many terms used for one aspect. The soul is infinite, everlasting, and pure. At present, you do not realize the soul, and your mind means everything to you. Yet the mind is not you, but what clothes are to the body. You are not the mind that feels and experiences everything. You are not the ego. You are the soul. Until it is realized, the spirit has to reincarnate and change bodies. You change your clothing when it becomes old, and so it is with the body. You all have had so many bodies, yet your soul never changes. It is the spirit which reincarnates again and again until you get back to the source of all, which is Baba. And there is one more thing in continuation to this by Adi K. Irani in the book Just to Love Him. The difference between the soul and the spirit. How many aspects do we have? We have a physical body, we have our desires which are full of energy and which stem from our subtle body. We have our mind, which Meher Baba says is the mental body, and we have a soul at the back of it all. The soul is absolutely detached from all this, but it has two aspects. The soul in relation to the mental body, the subtle body, and the physical body, which we call a human being, has experiences. It is called the spirit. The other aspect of the soul, the real nature of the soul, is absolutely detached. This is the difference between the soul and the spirit, and I do not think anybody except Meher Baba has explained this. All the time we drive a horse and donkey with the same whip. We do not know the difference. Baba, however, has drawn the difference. The soul is absolutely detached from everything. But that aspect of the soul that comes in contact with our mental, subtle, and physical bodies is called the spirit. Experiences then are not really taken up by the soul. They are there because the soul is the background. Pictures could not be formed without the background of the soul. These three bodies, the mental, subtle, and physical, are all destructible. At the back of them and their experiences is a central thing which is called I or ego. It is because of the ego that we think, see, and feel. It is a useful thing indeed. If this ego were not there, we could not collect all our experiences to compare and contrast them in order to draw conclusions. So this ego is absolutely necessary, but there comes a time when we have to throw it away. And this is self-effacement. Jai Meher Baba.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. That there, I think we've covered that quite clearly. Or Baba does.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment about what Larice had said. I mean, what you just said, Rashani, was so good that maybe what I have to say makes no sense. but what Larice said about words and listening to other people's words and people who've met Baba and all that and how that is important to her. And as she was speaking, what it struck, the chord that it struck in me is that it's things that touch my spirit, that I feel. I mean, I don't know if that's my spirit, but that's what I think is my spirit. That when I hear other people speaking, or even Ruth playing the song before we started, love, 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 crazy love. I mean, it awakens something in me that I would call spirit. And I don't know how it interfaces with what was just said from Adi K. Irani and from Lord Meher, but that I don't know if that's true for others or not, but I was just speaking to Larice and her statement about that, because I can certainly relate to what she's saying, and that's how I interpret it. Thank you.
Yeah. The words carry the love and feeling. Yeah.
In fact, if I could interrupt and just share, in fact, just today evening at the meditation, we were talking about this, about sharing, and something that Gail had shared had touched somebody else as well. And that's when she opened up and talked about something that she was earlier apprehensive about. And we spoke about this sharing matter. Usually, a lot of times people talk about, oh no, you must not share the experiences. And I always used to wonder that if experiences were not shared, then how would we know about Baba's love and all these beautiful lives that have been touched if those people had never shared? But I felt that the sharing, possibly there is a difference when you share to kind of, aggrandize your ego, and when you share with love, humility, to just share Baba's love with others. So I felt that's the thin line.
Yeah.
And the same way I love Baba stories as well. So I could completely relate to what she was saying right now. And I love to hear the sharings from people.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
You're at the right place. Okay. Now that we're Baba's work projects, let's see what has to happen.
All right. Layers of the Cake, page 6.
Mayor Baba refers to the gradual effacement of the false self as the progressive conquest of the unconscious by the conscious. End quote. This means that the goal of life, simply stated, is to make our unconscious minds conscious. However, between the unconscious and the conscious resides the subconscious. And this is where our central problem lies. The unconscious, subconscious, and conscious are layers of the consciousness, layers of the same cake. The obstacle we have to contend with is the residue of sanskars, deposits of impressions accumulated from past experiences, embedded mostly in our subconscious minds. These sanskars create veils over our consciousness, blocking us from the awareness of who we really are. Each of us has a unique set of sanskaras due to our own particular experiences. In the discourses, Mayor Baba explains the evolution of consciousness in great detail. Here I'll only say that the whole of consciousness, the whole purpose of it, during which consciousness was chiseled, hammered, and brought into being through suffering, pleasure, and all the opposites, was to evolve consciousness. Once we have achieved creation, consciousness as human beings, our consciousness is complete, and we are equipped to experience the unconscious, the oversoul, consciously. However, because our sanskaric veils, we are conscious only of creation. However, because of our sanskaric veils, we are conscious only of creation and of ourselves as being limited. We have the means of being aware of who we really are, but we go on using our fully evolved consciousness to experience the illusory creation, the gross world, which was merely the means to the end. When the end, full consciousness, has already been achieved. That is our predicament. We have become addicted to the creation. We perpetuate our own bondage by continuously accepting what our sanskars impel us to think, feel, and do. Sanskars give rise to false thinking, which in turn creates the passing illusory drama we take to be, quote, reality, quote, end quote, causing us to remain ignorant of the one reality, our true identity. This is why Mayor Baba says, quote, the problem of deconditioning the mind through the removal of sanskars is therefore extremely important, end quote. Instead of using our consciousness to express our sanskars by pursuing more pleasures, excitement, experiences in the gross world, Baba says that we should turn our consciousness inward toward the reality and begin to explore in that direction. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on a cloudy day, we say the sun isn't out, but it's definitely there. But that veil of clouds blocks it all.
I'm commenting that I don't really understand this very well. And I thought the concept of the layers of the cake were very interesting. I never heard it expressed that way. The unconscious and the subconscious and the what's the other one? Unconscious, subconscious, and conscious layers of the same cake. And then this idea of the oversoul. Once we have achieved creation consciousness as human beings, our consciousness is complete, and we are equipped to experience the unconscious, which he says is the same as the oversoul, consciously. And then the concept of the veils. But anyway, I think I would have to read it several times to really get the essence of what that is. But if anybody has some ideas, that would be great.
See, the term unconscious, it should be capitalized there. And Baba capitalizes that, meaning we are God unconscious. We're not conscious of our godhood. So being aware of the unconscious, what we're unconscious of, means experiencing ourselves as God. So that's potentially there. The unconscious fulfillment of experiencing who we are is just there as a potential. And then we're working our way from the conscious awareness through the subconscious back to the unconscious, which is God. I mean,
so you're saying things pop up from our subconscious, and as we explore them and they become conscious, we become more in touch with the soul or Baba.
Yeah.
Which is why the experiences are important, even though they're part of the illusion.
Yeah. Like I say, Baba usually uses the word, capitalizes the word unconscious. Because that's what we are unconscious of our godhood. That's our unconscious. Anyway, that might get us a little off track here.
Douglas?
No, I think it's so important, and it's, in some sense, it's what this whole book is about. Also, interestingly, Freud actually had something right about this. He described the mind in that way, which I think Baba must have given him. And Freud, of course, spent a lot of time trying to understand how the unconscious, how the subconscious material comes into conscious mind. That was the focus of analysis. And he did it first through, dream work was the main way. But I'm also struck in this by the sentence, Baba's quote, "The problem of deconditioning the mind through the removal of sanskaras is therefore extremely important." Deconditioning is an interesting word. I'm wondering what people's thoughts are, what that means. And then again, at the bottom, which this book really is about, is Baba says that we should turn our consciousness inward toward the reality and begin to explore in that direction. And I'm also wondering what our experiences are of turning mind inward.
Anyone have, well, there's some other hands maybe that may not be responding directly to your question, but there'll be someone to respond to what you say probably after the other hands have their chance.
Loris?
Hi, dear Baba. So the way I understand this is that my sanskaras are in my subconscious. And what's happening is they're running the show, and I'm addicted to this reality. I mean, it seems pretty real to me. And that I can get in the duality of it very easily. There's a duality of the election. I mean, there's duality everywhere, right? You know, it's all over the place. And so through I think that turning inward, well, one of my questions was, is this the very beginning of involution? I don't know, because we've gone through, you know, rock and animal and all this other stuff to get to, you know, consciousness. And is this the very beginning of involution? So that's a question I have. But I think that turning inward is, you know, through my relationship with Baba, I'm praying, I'm meditating. I mean, just even saying his name, or today I was saying Baba and Mara, Baba and Mara, Baba and Mara, that allows, I mean, for certainly that does something to my ego, and it certainly does, he's doing stuff with my sanskaras, right? So that inward, saying that inward is taking me in my heart. And he talked about seeing through the eyes of the heart. I love that again. Hearing that again is really nice. I would like to see through my heart more looking at other people, but I forget. So I think that's how I understand it, is that, and deconditioning my mind. My mind is addicted to this world. And my mind is addicted to my sanskaras, you know, acting out through the stuff that has happened to me and whatever. And so I think that's the primary thing that he's saying, is that that's what Baba's here to do, is to remove that so that we can find our true identity, which is God, and slowly go towards that, or that involution, I guess, right? That's, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I know, just to get this all kind of somewhat clearly in mind is helpful as we read along. But yeah, as you get deeper and deeper into the awareness of the heart, you are turning away from the mind and its preoccupation with time and space.
Well, I have two. One is when I think about going inward, it's really becoming consciously aware of what's driving us. So what are the thoughts that are coming up that are making us feel the way we're feeling, instead of just reacting to the way we're feeling and being out in the world with those feelings? It's like starting to pay attention to the engine that's running the show, you know, which is our samskaras. And so I look at turning inward as really starting to become consciously aware of how like for me, how my thoughts are creating my reality and my illusions. So that would be like what I would say about going inward, is really starting to pay attention consciously to that. And my question though was different. And that was, has anybody, or do you know of anybody who has actually, and maybe you have said it and I missed it, but really describe when you're like, you know, when you truly become unconscious, you know, that you're feeling God. You know, yes, there's like the beautiful feelings of love and all that we have, but is there anyone who's ever said, or in the group that's felt that they've actually touched that, and what did it feel like to them?
Very good question. And like Baba does say, we all have fleeting experiences of union with God.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're so fleeting we don't. But sometimes we have a more abiding experience of that. That's great, and a lot of us are here because we had that some of those experiences with Baba in the beginning, especially. And but go ahead.
Yeah, I think Douglas had asked about going within, what that's like, and I thought of two things. For me, it's if I'm, especially if I'm trying to focus on Baba, and let's say for the jap in the morning, and then all of a sudden something will come up in a thought, and I'll look at it and say, oh, I'm remembering something I'm not very, very happy about myself. And I remember what Jeff had said about giving it to Baba. So I'm thinking of that, but in the way of giving it to Baba. And I think that at that moment, I'm really paying attention to how Baba relates to me. And the other thing that also I'm thinking is when we try to remember Baba at 12 noon and 5 p.m. We go to bed when we wake up, especially 12 noon and 5 p.m. For that second, and I've been feeling this lately, it's almost as if Baba's like the grandpa, and the kids have come to see grandpa, but the kids are running around playing and they're not paying attention to grandpa, and grandpa's going, well, I guess they're going to play. But if they do pay attention to grandpa, they have grandpa's full attention. So when I try for that second to think of Baba, to say his name, he's there. He's there. And that is another way I'm thinking of, I'm going within, because I'm definitely not thinking about this illusion. That's my comment. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful, Ray. That's beautiful.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Rosalie?
I'm feeling very thankful to, I would say, the genius of Darwin, because the book and also like the meeting, it just, it's very open. I like the openness, and I've never felt a sort of openness when I've gone to discourse meetings. And I feel openness here, and I love the sharing, and it just encourages my own personal relationship with Baba. And I remember the moment of meeting Darwin in a little meeting in Berkeley, California, and I could feel Baba. And I remember that was the first time I could say I could feel Baba. And I'm very grateful that his voice is recorded, actually, because it's on that film, and it's like just a blessing, you know. It's talking about he knew he was the Christ. He saw, you know, it's just, anyway, I'm grateful for these meetings. And yeah, it's a wonderful, you know, you can sort of look forward to Sunday, you know. I mean, Sunday always seemed a day that had to have something special. And I think this is special. And especially, you know, we're all kind of pushed to be more inward. And so it's like we might as well feast on the inwardness, you know, rather than, you know, feasting and having a big fat turkey or whatever and har, you know. This is this way we feast, and we don't even have to be stuck cleaning up all the dirty dishes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, thanks. Thank you, Rosalie.
And Marinaz?
So in response to what Kathy said, if anyone here has experienced being in that conscious mind, I think most of us actually have experienced it in sleep. I think that comes in sleep. We just have to be aware of, especially at the time when we get up. The very second when we wake up, if we are aware of our sleep, what we dreamed, our dream, or how we feel at that moment, that's pretty much could be an indication whether we had experienced that conscious that Baba is talking about. I have heard upon getting up, upon waking up, if we experience our body extremely relaxed and perhaps have a feeling of the body under so much sweat, like we have sweat the whole night. And we have this feeling of joy still remaining, that joy and that lightness, that perhaps could be an indication that, yes, we have been in that conscious state of mind during the sleep. So that's my idea, and I wanted to share.
Yeah, lovely. That's a beautiful time. A little bit groggy at first, but
And Elizabeth?
Yeah, I was just, Anthony just put a number of things that he suggests for this deconditioning. I was wondering if anybody else had other ones, like the lines that hit me that I'm referring back to is, we have the means of being aware of who we really are. And so what means, you know, we go on using our fully evolved consciousness to experience the illusory creation, the gross world, etc. So what means? So repeating Baba's name, not putting into action our thoughts that are not good thoughts or words that are not good words. The problem of deconditioning the mind through the removal of sanskaras. So those are all really the techniques that we can use to further this removal of sanskaras and the getting rid of the quote conditioned mind, the mind that's conditioned to the, I guess, duality of the illusory world that we think we live in. Did I say that okay?
yeah. Yeah, no, we're going to get more into, this is going to be more clearly defined as we go along. A lot of these nuances of what conditioning is and all that. I mean, you want to take a break here, have a silence, and then we'll, there are more hands that are up.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll leave Ruth in charge of that, if that's all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Terry, and for me, what first of all, we messed up with the timing today, and so I missed the very beginning, and I feel sad about it, but we're going to read it together and try to catch up. But what I realized for myself and the sharing aspect of what happens here is that the wisdom or the experiences or the spirit that you all share here in this group is so enlightening to someone like myself who hasn't had the in-life experiences that you've all had with Baba. So I feel like this is not only a personal travel for me, a journey, but I feel like it feels like it's a journey for all of us. There's something that just feels so soulful that it feels more than spirit. It feels really inward as we're together, though. It's just, and reminds me how gorgeous that and lucky that Baba has come to us and given us this gift. It almost takes my breath away, seriously. So thank you all so much.
Good, yeah. This is one of those cruises, you know, where you don't get COVID.
In response to Kathy, some of you have heard this from me, but I was given an incredibly gifted time as a teenager where God gradually made himself more and more present for me, more and more accessible, incredibly accessible. And this took about a year or so to just keep progressively unfolding, but he would bring up sanskaras for me to face inside. And I'd see them coming at me, which was difficult because I knew I had to face them and they were painful. But when I'd done my best to face them and like straight on and realize my role in living them, effects that they could have on others, clouding over they could have in me. And when I guess, made enough effort to make God pleased, he would just take them away, just one by one after another. But this, again, it went on for months and months. But progressively, he opened up more and more of who I really was, which meant who he really is. And there was this continuing sense of expansion and peace and wonder, and my mind and the world slowing down. It was more and more delicious, you know, just day after day, month after month, as he kept cleaning me and inviting me to face myself. And it revealed more and more of him as he did that. So it was beyond my wildest dreams, still to this day, beyond my wildest dreams. And, you know, it didn't last. It reached an incredible point for me. And then it all just gradually got taken away with no explanation. But the experience of being with him like that, Kathy, was just astounding, utterly expansive and rich and peaceful.
Yeah, and then you know what you're shooting for, from where you are now. You know where the destiny is, which helps. That's the light at the end of the tunnel.
I have an idea where the target is.
Yeah, real big time.
All right, Heidi, would you like to speak?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
This subconscious business is really interesting because there are schools of thought about it that even help people to be more aware of what's running amok in their subconscious mind, running like a record that doesn't stop. So the more you're aware of it, of what's happening to you, how you're molded or patterned or conditioned, you can change it. Baba's name certainly helps to help you change and change it because it melts away those types of sanskars. And it was explained to me at one point that you could, with Baba's name or any positive inclination that you say to yourself, even going into the silence, you can actually record over the junk, over the sanskars are not helpful and record over it. Baba's name certainly does it. And so you find yourself playing a new recording of yourself, the true you, the Baba you, eventually. So
Good.
that's how I like to look at it that way. And I've actually played around with it where I used in the old days, I thought this can't be true, but I tried it for 30 days. I actually wrote out the opposite of what my mind was running amok that I didn't like and was getting me in a lot of trouble. And I rewrote it and I said it to myself in the old cassette player, you know, the old tapes, and I played it before I went to bed. And lo and behold, it really had an impact. It was almost as if it was gone. Of course, saying Baba's name with it too. So there's little tricks that you can do too and play with it. I think everybody's an individual and you have to, it's so wonderful to hear everybody's methods and ways and opportunities to be with Baba, say Baba's name, that it's helpful. You could, but make up your own. I find over the years that Baba really, just for me, to me, Baba loves our individuality, and he sort of gets like he gets something out. He gets a kick out of us, you know, being like saying his name and being more true to who we are, but you doing it uniquely the way we would do it. I just feel he gets a real kick out of it, that he enjoys, you know, who we are, you know. So I just adopt that and it helps. So I don't fight myself. I kind of try to, you know, be with my personality and with Baba and find some joy in it.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Heidi. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
the-
spy God.
Yeah. I spy.
I spy God.
Sorry,
Okay,
the
Baba.
discussion was too interesting, so I kept the sleep on hold. I would like to read from this compilation called Avatar Meher Baba's Messages for the New Humanity, which is compiled by Adi K. Irani from Messages in East and West by Baba. This is on action and inaction, since we were talking about the conditioning and unconditioning. Action might add to accumulated ignorance. All action except that which is intelligently designed to attain God realization creates a binding for consciousness. It is not only an expression of accumulated ignorance, but is also a further addition to that accumulated ignorance. Life seeks to free itself from self-created entanglement. Inaction is, in many ways, preferable to unintelligent action, for it has at least the merit of not creating further sanskaras and complications. Even good and righteous action creates sanskaras and means more additions to the complications created by past actions and experiences. All life is an effort to attain freedom from self-created entanglement. It is a desperate struggle to undo what has been done under ignorance, to throw away the accumulated burden of the past, to find rescue from the debris left by a series of temporary achievements and failures. Life seeks to unwind the limiting sanskaras of the past and to obtain release from the mazes of its own making, so that its further creations might spring directly from the heart of eternity and bear the stamp of unhampered freedom and intrinsic richness of being, which knows no limitation. Jai Meher Baba.
Beautiful. Baba's words are so fantastic. You know, and he just clarifies it. So let's get Betty there, I think, or either Betty or Ken.
Ken again. I wanted to come back to that question of deconditioning. You know, I find that for me, I'm a creature of habit, you know, And my impulse is basically to, you know, act fairly automatically on my habit patterns. And so this business of deconditioning is what happens for me when I kind of short circuit that automatic chain of events, you know, and that part of the spiritual orientation for me is to try to make spaciousness. And when I do that, you know, when I can short circuit the automatic response, the impulse that was behind that action, it's almost like it frees up energy that would otherwise be spent. And when I move that energy to Mayor Baba in remembrance, then he takes it. And the impulse now comes from him. And that is what seems to lead to a new level of experience for me, whether it's bliss or confusion, whatever it is, it's always disorganizing at first. And part of what I have to do then is to integrate it and reorganize my sense of self in the light of that, because it's always new information and it's a new experience, and it blows up my previous limits in my belief of who I am. And so, you know, those experiences, which, you know, sometimes give different possibilities and different rules seem to apply, but those experiences are nothing more than affirmations for me, or demonstrations that life can be lived and experienced from a different level.
Yeah. Excellent. No, that's beautifully described. That gets right into that whole interior roadmap, you might say, that Darwin really amplifies on.
One little thing I do, because I like affirmations, and I usually can tell what samskaras are up for changing just by being aware of what I'm thinking and what I'm dealing with. Like today, my affirmation is, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, happy, and divine. And what I do is I use beads, because I'm an old Catholic. And when I went to India and I found out everybody was using beads to pray, I thought, this is fine. So I use my beads. I repeat Mayor Baba's name, Mayor Baba. I say that 5 times. And then I imagine Mayor Baba living within me and being me and expressing as me. After I repeat his name 5 times, then I start with my affirmations. I go, I am whole, I am perfect. And this is all at the same time, just imagining Mayor Baba within me expressing these qualities. I am whole, I am perfect, I am strong, I am powerful, I am loving, I am harmonious, I am happy, and I am divine. And then again, I repeat Mayor Baba's name 5 times, and I continue the process. So I repeat Mayor Baba's name, but at some point during the day, I work with the positive qualities of Mayor Baba that I want to incorporate, as I feel led by him and my intuition, to incorporate into my consciousness. So by the end of the day, I not only have Mayor Baba's presence by repeating his name, but I'm working with some of these qualities that I want to express. That's just a little trick that
Yeah.
I thought I'd share.
No, excellent. That is, I mean, really, that's much of what Darwin is leading toward, is to get in touch with those divine qualities within yourself, which
Yeah.
are really who we are and which they come directly from Baba.
If you will notice something in this book that Darwin is very good about, Darwin loves adjectives. And I've learned that adjectives are wonderful words to get Mayor Baba's presence moving in your life. And sometimes I just find something that needs to be dealt with, and I run to a thesaurus to look at all the powerful words that I can say in the midst of using Baba's name. It works for me. It might work for you. Thanks for letting me.
Great. Yeah. Hey, so before we go on, a mention if anybody wants to stay on for a heart-centered meditation that Stu can lead us on, and it's quite lovely. It will take you to a beautiful place inwardly, and some of the experiences that Darwin touches on, you will have in your own, occur in your own heart.
Jeff.
A little earlier, somebody had mentioned about the grandchildren having a lot of fun and circling around.
Oh, that was beautiful, yeah.
Around. And Ken had mentioned about many similar thought patterns, I believe he said. Having looked at my own mind and a lot of other people's minds, and this is not my expression, but the way I've heard it put is we're very mechanical beings. I think Ken used the word automatic. He does a lot of things automatically. So do I. This word conditioning, conditioned, I think it's important for me to take a look at the mechanical, automatic behavior patterns that I manifest, because as an old Buddhist friend of mine said a few years ago, he said, Jeff, do everything you're doing 50% slower and see how aware and what you feel within yourself as you live in your day. It's not easy to slow down by 50%. Try it, you'll see. But one of these days, I'm going to take the patience and just spend at least an hour or two and do everything I'm doing 50% slower, because the real challenge really, when you look at it and you look at yourself, is are you a mechanical being doing these things that you do automatically? And it's very hard not to, I mean, especially if you're working in your professional career, you're getting up, you're going to work, and you're dealing with paper and people and obligations and all kinds of meetings, and catch your breath, Baba, 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 catch your breath, Baba, Baba, Baba. So I think it's very, very, very important for each of us to take a really, really good look at how the conditioning and the automatic mechanical ways that we are running us, because you can't change if you don't see what you need to change. Of course, Baba's name and Baba's grace are monumentally important. But I'm acutely aware over the last many years how mechanical my thinking is, my actions are, my behavior is. Some of those are very beautiful and loving actions, of course. However, I am, and this is part of this whole duality thing. Am I in touch with what is actually happening, or am I running like those beautiful kids around and around having fun? They're 11, they're 12. We were once these same kids. And all of a sudden you're 20, you're 40, you're 60, or whatever age you are. And maybe you wake up and you say, wait a second. Let me get off the carousel of all the tapes, all the CDs, all the mechanical patterns. And then we go on a retreat the beautiful Baba retreat we had a couple of years ago in Massachusetts at a monastery. The problem is to integrate that and come back to your regular life outside that retreat center and setting where things are very slow and very compassionate and very gentle. Could be also very musical and very meditative, but you know, this world that most of us are living in, even in the best of circumstances, and thank Baba, I have some exceptionally fortunate circumstances in my life. I don't take it granted for even 1 second of any day. Even with all of the wonderful beauty that I'm fortunate and really grateful to acknowledge every day. Baba, thank you for all my blessings and the good life that you blessed me with. It wasn't always that way. I think it's just, I say it so gently, please let's take a look at the mechanical ways we are, the automatic ways we are, so that at least one can take a look at what they can let go of in time. Sorry, I was too repetitive, but that's what I wanted to share.
No, this is where we all can learn a lot from each other, you know, on how we tackle these things. You know, before we have the meditation, let me mention this kind of relates in general. One of Darwin's methods, he would describe consciousness as like an octopus that has these tentacles that go into identifying with the world of thought, identifying with the world of emotions and feelings and desires. Those tentacles go way off in there. And so we become those things. We become our thoughts. We become our emotions. and so gradually you withdraw consciousness from being enmeshed in those things, so the consciousness, you have some space between you and your thoughts, some space between you and your desires, some space between you and your emotions, so you can make some more positive decisions instead of just jumping in the river every time you react to something. So that's going to be one of the themes running through this book, is to create more inner space so that you can see the inner traffic and choose the road that you want to go on, and not just head into rush hour traffic, the rush hour traffic of thoughts, all of that. You find a little country road eventually in there.
Anybody else before?
Go for it.
Okay. Jai Baba, everybody.
Jai Baba.
So please all mute if you would. That'll help us. And just close your eyes and just let yourself sink into your chair or settle back where you're lying down, wherever you are. And start to breathe gently and fully into your belly. And we'll keep up that breathing the whole time. And you can envision that. And we'll sink away from the world even a little more as we do this. And now let your awareness come to your heart space, or your heart center. And breathe in and notice whatever you might feel or see there. What do you feel in your heart right now? And we all have this heart center, which is the home in us of Baba's infinite love, always available, always in there in all of us. No end to it. We can never use it up. And just let yourself breathe into that endless pool of infinite love for a moment. And now pick somebody, could be a person, even a group, who you would like to share the focus on Baba's infinite love, sharing with them. And let your heart guide you, whoever comes up that you'd like to share this infinite love with. And get a good image of them. And see their heart center, their heart space. And breathe into these images you have. And notice whatever you might see or feel as you do this. And now picture Baba's infinite love, his endless love just flowing into their heart space. And I see this warm, soothing, liquid, golden light just richly and generously flowing into their hearts, their heart centers. This is healing, soothing, inspiring, forgiving love. This love is just there to give. And breathe in and see, keep seeing this love just flow into their heart centers. And filling every bit of their heart, every little corner. And now overflowing. There's so much of it. And it's flowing through, and it's cleaning, healing. And see this love flowing and filling every bit of their being. And keep breathing in as you see and feel this endless love flowing into them and through them. And we'll stay here another moment or two with Baba's love just richly, generously flowing through their hearts, overflowing and flowing soothingly through their whole being. And now let's give thanks for being able to share our focus with this incredible love, and know that you can return here again and again. And let's bid farewell to them for now. And now gently bring your attention back to your own heart and your heart center. And breathe in as you settle in there. And again, notice whatever you might see or feel. And now start to picture Baba's infinite love flowing into your heart center. Just richly, endlessly, generously flowing into your heart, healing, soothing, forgiving, cleansing. And just filling your entire heart space. And again, I see the warm, liquid, golden light. And now see this endless, flowing love overflow from your heart. And flow through and now fill every bit of your being, every bit. And keep breathing in as we stay there another little bit, as Baba's infinite love is flowing right through our hearts, filling and filling and filling every bit of our whole being. And just let your heart drink and drink. And now let's give thanks for being able to focus on this flow of Baba's infinite love. For our own hearts. And again, know that you can keep returning here again and again. Baba's love is always flowing. And now gently start to bring your awareness back to your surroundings. And take a few moments to adjust. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And if anybody would like to share, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I tried to do what Jeff did the other day, which is make myself the recipient of the love, which I'd never done before. And that was interesting. And instead of the golden color this time, I got that rosy gold that you get at a sunrise or a sunset.
Mm.
And it was a little thicker than was like that that light kind of strawberry dessert kind of thing. But anyway, and felt it. I can't remember the name of it, a special name, but it's basically whipped, kind of a whippy cheese, but it's that same kind of golden pinkish color. And
Parfait.
Parfait.
what is it?
Parfait.
Parfait.
No, there's another name. I can't think of it. But anyway, so I just tried to feel it. It was, well, when I first started doing it, I had myself as like the drop soul that tried to focus on that self and then later brought it back to me. And when it came back to me, it was more like ocean waves And then I tried drinking it. And then I always think of the pool because you keep bringing up the pool, and then actually taking a dive into it, and a concept of cleansing, a purification. And I had the song in my mind, "Purify Me," the one that many of you know. Purify me with your fire, Lord. It's in a minor. It's a very beautiful song. We sing it at Artie, but that came to me. So I didn't really feel a whole. I wasn't sure what I was feeling. I was kind of numb, and I felt very stopped up. But when it was over, I felt a sense of peacefulness. That was the final thing, and I'm hoping maybe some other insights will come to me later.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I like the rosy golden light.
Yeah, that was lovely. Yeah, it was kind of like that sheen, kind of like Baba's coat, but it was the golden and then that color of his coat mixed in with it.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I hope more insight opens up for you too.
Me too. I've been having some dreams that wake me up and unusual experiences, and I hope that I'll get some insight into what that's all about. Maybe it's the subconscious things I need to deal with. But I can't believe how many I've had that have been like that lately.
Huh.
So.
Very good.
I would say it's always very expansive for me. And for some reason, I like to go to Mandalay Hall and be there. And with Baba and a few of the Mandalay. It's a beautiful, expansive place to be. And I get little glimpses of Baba. And I don't mind going there every week.
It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I felt like I could, I saw Baba's face, you know, when we were picturing that beautiful golden light. It was really lovely.
Like a little vision of Baba, kind of a momentary vision. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was like a momentary vision of like, I'm here.
Yeah.
It was
Is he very alive, Kathy?
Yes, smiling.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a victory.
Mhm. Yeah. I went so deep that I almost forgot about it until just now. It was just like, I really went out.
Oh, good.
So we know that Baba gets up to Vermont every once in a while.
Yeah, he does. He's got a fur coat on. It was 17 degrees the other night.
Wow.
Where are you?
I'm in Stratford, Vermont.
Oh, okay.
About 2/3 of the way up. I'm not too far from the Northern Kingdom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you near Hog Island?
No, I don't know. I don't know Hog Island.
It's the Audubon Osprey live cam site. It's in Brecon, Maine.
Oh no!
I mean, sorry, Bremen.
In Bremen, Maine. No, I'm not near that at all. probably quite a ways, probably a good 6 hours.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I'm not near the ocean at all.
Oh.
I'm in the mountains.
Anyone else that gosh.
Put everybody out, Stuart.
Well, I'll say something. I picked somebody. I picked somebody. I live in a small apartment building. There's only 6 apartments, and most of us get along really well. There's a young man who lives downstairs with his mother, and they're both really difficult, I find. And I feel so bad because I lose my temper, especially with the young man. So he is who I chose. And it was actually a very lovely meditation. And it was really, I mean, I really saw him in a different light, seeing him filled with Baba's love. And I'm not very clear whether this will be helpful to him in any way, but I feel pretty sure that it's going to be helpful to me. And I hope that I can, like the next time he does something really annoying, I hope I can remember this feeling that I'm having now and had during the meditation. So thanks, Stuart. It was really nice today.
No, that's wonderful, Elizabeth. And you can keep doing this. And some of you have heard me say that I've got so many stories of doing this with others and then keeping it up, and then miracles happening in matters of conflict, just miracles happening.
Gosh.
Ooh.
And there's a beautiful, simple saying of Baba that I've always liked, where he says, "Whatever you do with love has perfect results."
Yeah.
Oh,
Very nice.
It may not be perfect from the standards of the world, but it does have perfect results in the real sense.
Mm-hmm. In the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd never know what can come out of this. And again, if you do it repeatedly, I had somebody ask me if I would lead their 20-something-year-old son in this. He was struggling with life, and he went to this magical kingdom. He didn't want to get out of it. Afterwards, he said it was the most wonderful place. He just didn't expect it.
Oh, how beautiful.
And then I checked in with him a few weeks later, said, "How are you doing?" He said, "I'm doing fine." There's still a wonderful effect from doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Baba said you can turn an enemy into a friend by constantly thinking well of them.
Wow.
So I mean, these things really can change, but it's feeling inspired to do it.
Yeah, and it's not with the intention of trying to bring about any particular change or fix somebody else or anything, but it's focusing on the infinity and the magic of Baba's love, and then whatever might happen will happen. But just so many times, wonderful things happen, including Elizabeth, like you said, you felt good.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your own new peace and sense of love in you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like that young man, who said he went to a magic kingdom. It's like you showed him a place he didn't even know was there. That's the lovely thing about that, for him to discover that.
Yes, yeah, no, it was amazing. And I love hearing what happens with people. I love it. I constantly get surprised.
Mhm.
Julie, how are you doing? Just saying hello to you.
Yeah, I kind of, sometimes I go out in this meditation. So my, I think my starting thought was to send to all humanity. And I guess that's kind of big. So I just went out.
Well, I'm sure you were still sending.
I was still sending. I thought, okay, this is what's really needed, is for me to really incorporate all of humanity. And everyone's going through so much right now, and I'm constantly surprised by what people are, there are different directions the stress is taking them, different parts of themselves they're exploring, and I'm working on this impartiality when I speak to different political views, and so there's nowhere to go but to everyone at this point. So I'll let you know what the results are.
That's a wonderful thing.
This is Mary, and I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
This is Marion Lewis. I can see all of you. I don't have a camera, so I can't be seen. So I wanted to express my thankfulness because I had been praying for the support that I need, as I have had the sense that those that have the most expectations with close to me, like grandchildren, children, never, there's other, there's government and there's all kinds of other expectations, but the ones that I have the most closest contact with, where I know I've been taking through releasing them to their greater good and releasing my expectations, because great teacher once said to me, all expectations lead to pain and disappointment. And so it's coming to like a head, because I've done a lot of work on this. But tonight, with this, being together for this whole time, I thank you, Jeff and Stuart and everyone. I have been getting that little tap on my right temple of how letting go of me figuring any of it out, letting go of me trying to recreate what worked in the past and doesn't now, especially with grandchildren and who are now teenagers. And I got that sense. And so tonight, this was so present with this as an answer to my prayer, where I don't have to work so hard. I don't have to figure anything out. I just have to let go and allow. And I know I've been set an intention for more sharing with more like-minded. And this was tonight. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Hey, Baba.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that today is All Souls Day. And I do have a church that I participate in, and we did the evensong service. And that service is for all those who have passed away. Specifically this year, it's a memorial service. And it was just really beautiful. And some of the things they were saying, of course, were very Baba sayings about being in the silence. And I can't really express the whole thing, but I'm sure many places around the world are observing All Saints Day and All Souls Day, which is the 31st and November the 1st. I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
Oh.
To something that Marion mentioned there, I don't know if this would relate to you, but I remember years ago, I had an ongoing conflict with somebody that I was really close with. And every time we tried to work out our differences or the disharmony, it would wind up creating a little bit more of a mess, you know, and then we kind of work at it and it, I mean, it went on for a couple of years, and this is someone I was close to. And so I was in India and I described the situation to Erich. And this is what he said. Now, it doesn't always work, but it worked in this case. He said, go back and act as if nothing ever happened.
Mhm.
You know, so I went back and I, you know, said, hey, how you doing? You know, like that. That person was so happy to drop the whole thing. I was so happy to drop it. We picked up from, you know, we started anew, and it's been perfect ever since. But sometimes that works. Sometimes you just kind of act like, you know all these various things have happened, and you just go in as if they didn't happen, and you just kind of start anew. That sometimes works. And in this case, that little piece of advice from Erich restored and has continued. This is many years ago, a great friendship that's going on, and we've never hit those choppy rapids since.
That's great. That's great.
Jeff,
Thank
would
you.
you, Jeff, would you
Yeah.
share in what Monty said about what makes a saint? I love hearing that. What makes a saint a saint?
Yeah, I wonder if I've got it here somewhere. I'll just go ahead. I'll take a look. If I don't have it amongst these things, I'm in
Well,
trouble.
I'll just share something real quick while you're looking. One time I was having a lot of issues, my sister and I, and we were kind of estranged for a year. And I was just so heartbroken, and I was at the center, and I went to Kitty. Sorry, wait a minute. Yes, I went to Kitty and talked about it. And she said, all right, well, here's what you do. Write her a letter from here and mail it from here. And she said, and start it with, let's just start with a blank page. And that's what I wrote. And then whatever I added. And honestly, when I called her, she was so, like you said, Jeff, she was just so relieved, and when we met again the next time, she was like, oh, it was all my fault. And I'd say, no, it was all my fault. And we'd hug and cry and say, Jai Baba. So yeah, starting with a blank page.
Good. Maybe that is part of what the deconditioning mind is, that when you just do something totally different, that is not your automatic reaction.
Yeah.
Yep, it's reversal of previously conditioned behavior. That's the definition. Reversal. So, yeah, we can ask Baba about that.
Beautifully shared. Beautifully shared those words.
Yeah, that was so clear, Ruthie, and so simple.
Right from the dictionary online.
Oh. I should have looked it up.
I've done my share of mediating, and often enough, the conflicted people are really tired of the conflict. And, if you give them a chance to just give it up and do something that works for both, then that can be a tremendous relief. It fits in with what people are saying.
And I would imagine that releases a lot of energy, wouldn't it? And frees people up and makes them much lighter.
Yeah, and I think it was Ken and Betty made a comment that he was aware that as you can work on letting go of a block inside, you're freeing energy, toward positive directions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This
Jeff,
is Mary
did you
in New York
find that
City.
quote? Jeff, did you
Yeah.
find that Monty quote?
I'm trying. I just can't seem to find it.
I guess it's for next time.
I know. Basically it says, why are the saints saints? And this is the general drift of it. They were patient when they wanted to be impatient. They were quiet when they wanted to speak. They were agreeable when they wanted to be disagreeable. It's a number of things like that. And then it says, and that is the way it is. Basically that's the difference between us and saints, is they have just done that. They've gone against their conditioned nature and done the more divine thing. And they just keep preferring that. But it's not like, hey, you get this blissful experience and you're great. No, it means you had to not speak for 2 hours when you wanted to open your mouth. You let someone do something that went against what, entirely what you wanted done, and you had to be patient. So the acquiring these qualities is not just you kind of get on a nice stream of bliss and you're running, and you come to these places. It's hard work.
But when you shared it before, the way you must have read it, Jeff, because Monty was so incredible with words that I would like to hear it again if you find it. I'd love to hear it.
I know, it's crazy.
It was so perfect. It's like, wow, one could be a saint. We have all this opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, what you said also reminds me of this meditation we've been doing on the 7 realities and concepts of renunciation and real knowledge and real sacrifice. I mean, I think it's kind of bound up in that, especially the one about the real knowledge. The knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without expectation of reward, and when compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Marion has to go, as I've gotten such a deep charge of spirit, and my phone is losing its charge, so it's beeping me out. So I'll have to let the phone guide me here and tell you thank you. I'm blessed, and I am so grateful that I got to connect, and I'll stay connected inwardly to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Marion.
Bye-bye. I am also going to part because I have to be at 5 o'clock to go to the barn.
Oh, horses.
Horses, yes.
I saw a picture of a horse.
Yeah.
Yes, that's I love that.
Right there. We can see it. Just
Is that one of yours?
No. I am presently at a friend of mine's house, and her boyfriend bought her that for Christmas.
Kathy, I pictured you sneaking on the center to go to the barn.
Oh, did you really?
Well, you said the barn. I mean, it's the barn. Yeah.
The barn. I would love to be down there, to be going to the barn.
Yeah. Any last comments before
Well, I was going to ask, what's for dinner, Jeff?
I'm getting hungry
What
myself.
are you gonna have?
I can, but even though I'm hungry, I will not, I will resist. And
All right.
no, but I think anything further? Well, we'll meet. We'll meet next week. Anybody wants to,
Yes.
and also Tuesday and Sunday night and Tuesday night get together informally too.
What's Tuesday night?
It's
After
called
RT?
late night chats.
Oh, the late night.
What do you do
Oh,
on that, by the way?
But it's not going to
Chat.
happen this Tuesday because
Big chat, Elizabeth.
I'm going to be distracted.
He's gonna
Well, we need you more than ever then, Jeff.
Greatly distracted.
We will need our late night chat
Yeah.
so we can talk
Excuse me,
about something else.
What do you guys do on the late night chats?
Well, it's interesting. Things come up, issues and good stories and things. It's never planned, but much of it has to do with the inner life and the difficulties that just like what Elizabeth, who was just here, dealing with her neighbor, how to interpersonal things, anything that comes up in regards.
That sounds interesting.
Baba.
And
Plus,
so you do those Tuesdays and what other days? Except not this coming Tuesday?
Sunday night and Tuesday night. Yeah.
Oh, you do it later tonight then?
Yeah, later tonight.
Oh.
And
So
it's,
you need
but it
dinner.
gets kind of late for people, but it only
You need
just
dinner,
kind of.
Jeff.
What's that?
You need dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to get some dinner. So I'm not going to.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jeff. Thank
Kathy,
you,
great to
everyone.
see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, Robin, we didn't see you, but you're probably still there, are you?
I don't hear her.
And Meph, are you there? She's out in the Southwest.
I see Peter. He's quiet tonight.
Yeah. Okay, see you guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Stu. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Baba. Good night,
Bye,
Elizabeth.
Kathy.
Good night, Lenita.
Bye.
Daddy, say
Jan,
Baba.
Ruth.
Thank
Good night, Peter. Good night, Kathy.
Night, everyone. Night,
Good night,
Tomboy.
Jay, Baba.
Hey, Baba, Jeff.
Thank you all.
Where are
Hey,
you? Come on.